She's not reaching out, yet you dominate her thoughts. That's the paradox of female psychology most men never understand. When a woman pulls back, when her messages stop and her voice seems distant, it doesn't mean she's gone. It doesn't mean she's over you. In fact, it often means the opposite. She's feeling the pull of your absence stronger than ever, but her pride, her ego, or her fear of appearing vulnerable keeps her silent. Most men panic at this point. They think, she doesn't text me, she must be over me. But that's a trap, a false narrative society has drilled into us. The truth is, when a woman stops reaching out, her mind is running wild with everything she wants to say but can't. Every smile you gave, every moment you shared, every hint of connection plays over in her mind like a looping reel she can't pause. Her silence is not emptiness, it's internal chaos. This is where most men lose the subtle art of influence. They try to fill the silence, they overreach, they text, call, or chase, and each desperate attempt chips away at the magnetic tension that naturally exists when a woman is secretly thinking about you. You see, absence is a psychological tool, not because you're trying to manipulate her, but because your space, your independence, and your calm detachment create an invisible gravitational field she can't resist. Women are wired to notice value without having to chase it. If you vanish, even momentarily, your absence becomes an echo she can't ignore, a question she can't stop asking herself: why isn't he here? Her mind will wander to the last time she laughed with you, the subtle brush of your hand, the way your confidence made her feel seen. And here's the brutal honesty many men fail to grasp: she is evaluating herself as much as she is evaluating you. Every time she doesn't reach out, it's not because she doesn't care, it's because she's silently measuring how much of herself she's willing to reveal, how much vulnerability she's ready to risk. This is the battlefield of attraction, one invisible to most men. You don't control it through texts, social media likes, or emotional pleading. You control it by being the man who walks through life with certainty. The man whose presence is inherently valuable whether she acknowledges it or not. And here's the deeper truth. The longer she doesn't reach out, the more her mind works overtime. She imagines your life without her. She pictures other women entering your space, laughing with you, touching you, capturing your attention. And if she values you, this mental exercise hurts. It triggers emotions she doesn't want to admit, fears she tries to suppress. And in that quiet, invisible struggle, she realizes how much she actually thinks about you. Not just fleeting thoughts, but constant, recurring, mentally exhausting thoughts that swirl beneath her pride. She's wrestling with her own feelings in ways most men will never witness. But these are the moments where attraction silently deepens. You need to recognize one key principle here. A woman thinking about you doesn't require her reaching out immediately. The power lies in restraint, in letting her mind do the work you can't force with words or gestures. Every man who chases her diminishes this natural process. But the man who understands the silent game, who values his own time, who maintains his life without her constant validation, he becomes irresistible. She doesn't want a man who's always available. She wants a man who's present in his own world, a man whose absence feels like a challenge to her emotions, a man she can't stop thinking about. Her silence is not rejection. It's a signal. It's her mind telling you more than any text ever could. You matter. But she's testing the unspoken rules of attraction, the rules she doesn't even consciously know she's following. And if you break them, chase, or over-explain, you collapse the tension instantly. So now that you understand why she's not reaching out and why that doesn't mean she's gone, you have to ask yourself, are you going to act like every man who panics at silence? Or are you going to step into the rare, subtle, unspoken power that makes her secretly obsessed, even when she refuses to pick up the phone? While she sits in silence, her mind is not idle. Every detail of your presence, every subtle interaction, is amplified in ways you'll never see. Women have an uncanny ability to replay moments with precision, to dissect conversations, expressions, and even the unspoken energy between two people. When she's not reaching out, it's not because she's uninterested, It's because her mind is running 1,000 simulations, exploring every what if, every alternative scenario. She's testing herself emotionally, trying to measure how much she cares versus how much she's willing to reveal. And in that mental labyrinth, you become the constant, the center of her inner world, even if she refuses to admit it externally. Here's the part men often misunderstand. She doesn't just think about you, she imagines how you might be feeling, what your life looks like without her, and where she fits in your world. That's why silence is so powerful. It forces her to confront these thoughts without the relief of immediate communication. She wonders, why isn't he texting? What is he doing? Does he even care? Each unanswered question subtly shifts her perception of you, creating a magnetic tension that no message, no call, and no social media post could ever replicate. You are no longer just a person to her. You are a presence she cannot ignore, even if she pretends to the outside world that your absence doesn't matter. And this is where the psychology becomes fascinating. She begins to self-analyze. She remembers the energy you brought into her life, the way you made her feel, seen, challenged, desired. She asks herself why she hasn't reached out, why she's holding back, and why her thoughts keep circling back to you. Pride and fear often create this silence, but the underlying truth is emotional dependency. Though she won't call it that, she is mentally tethered to you. This is why her friends notice a shift before you do. They see her glances, her sudden distraction, the way she unconsciously talks about moments involving you. Even if she never reaches out, these subtle signs betray the fact that she's processing her feelings incessantly, struggling internally with the tension your absence creates. Every interaction you had, no matter how small, gains disproportionate weight in her memory. That casual laugh, that confident gaze, even that moment of disagreement, she's replaying it constantly, seeking meaning, evaluating what she felt and what she wants to feel again. And while you might think her silence is a lack of interest, it's actually a deep internal negotiation. How much vulnerability is she willing to risk, and how much of her emotional world is she ready to expose? She's testing herself as much as she's testing you, and every day you remain calm, focused, and unattached, the tension builds. But let's be brutally honest, this isn't about trickery. You're not manipulating her. You're simply allowing her natural psychology to unfold. Men who chase, plead, or over-explain break this cycle. They give her an outlet before her mind has had to confront the real weight of your absence. You, however, become the silent puzzle she cannot solve, the presence she can't forget. And this is where obsession begins, not the desperate, needy kind, but the quiet, simmering, mentally consuming kind. She starts imagining possibilities, alternatives, and what her life feels like with or without you. Her subconscious runs through every permutation while she outwardly pretends nothing is happening. And here's the key. Her silence does not diminish your value. It amplifies it. Every day you remain steady, confident, and grounded, you become the benchmark by which she measures everyone else. Her internal narrative revolves around you, and her thoughts, though invisible to the outside, become the proof of her fixation. You exist in the tension between her desire and her pride, in the gap where she cannot reach you, but cannot stop thinking about you. So the question isn't whether she's thinking about you, it's how you choose to respond to that silent, invisible energy. Will you act impulsively, shattering the magnetic tension, or will you embrace the unspoken psychology that makes her obsess quietly, privately, uncontrollably over the very man who refuses to chase her? Her silence is never random. Every pause, every delay, every moment she refrains from reaching out is purposeful, though often unconsciously so. Women are wired to test boundaries, to explore emotional landscapes before fully committing. She wants to feel the weight of her emotions without losing control. That's why she doesn't text first, why she doesn't call. She's negotiating with herself, weighing desire against fear, attraction against pride. And while you may feel frustrated, confused, or even rejected, this hesitation is exactly where you gain leverage, because the very thing men interpret as disinterest is actually evidence of deep mental engagement. She's thinking about you in ways she won't admit. She's imagining scenarios, replaying memories, evaluating her own feelings, and asking herself whether she wants to break her silence. This internal negotiation is not linear. It doesn't move predictably from attraction to connection. Her mind fluctuates between longing and resistance, desire and doubt. Some days, she feels an urge to reach out but holds herself back. Other days, she convinces herself she's done, that she no longer cares, but those are the days her mind secretly loops over every interaction, every smile, every word you've spoken. The deeper her feelings, the more complex this mental cycle becomes. She isn't disinterested, she's cautious, she's processing. And if you don't panic, if you resist the urge to overreach, you become the calm center around which her storm of thoughts revolves. Here's the truth most men miss. Your absence is amplifying her emotional clarity. When she's not reaching out, she's forced to confront how she truly feels. She examines her motivations, her insecurities, and her desires without any external influence. Every day you maintain your calm, confident detachment, you're shaping her internal narrative. She starts asking questions like, why am I thinking about him so much? Why do I feel this pull? What does it mean that he hasn't contacted me? These questions are powerful because she doesn't know the answers herself yet. Her mind is running in circles, and every mental loop increases her emotional fixation. And while you might assume she'll eventually forget or move on, the opposite is true if you play this right. Absence doesn't create indifference, it sharpens focus. You are now occupying space in her mind that no one else can. The more she hesitates, the more she imagines your life without her in it. She pictures other women capturing your attention, competing for your energy, and these imagined scenarios spark a subtle panic she won't admit even to herself. She may feel pride telling her friends she's fine, but privately, she is acutely aware of how much her thoughts return to you. The key for you is understanding the rhythm of this hesitation. You cannot rush it. You cannot force it. Every attempt to fill the silence diminishes the tension that is working in your favor. Confidence isn't just about showing strength when you're present. It's about showing resilience in your absence. Your life continues, your purpose remains intact, and your focus does not shift toward her need for reassurance. This creates an invisible power. She can feel it on some level, even if she cannot articulate it. You are no longer just a man she's interested in. You are the challenge her mind cannot escape, the standard by which she measures emotional intensity and value. And this is the subtle genius of female psychology. She will test, she will hesitate, she will create emotional friction because it forces her to confront her true feelings. But here's the brutal, empowering truth for you. The longer you remain steady, confident, and detached, the more she is trapped in her own mental struggle. She may act indifferent outwardly, but inwardly she is consumed. Every thought, every scenario, every fleeting memory of you spins endlessly in her head. Your absence becomes the lens through which she examines her own emotions, and that is where desire secretly, undeniably grows. So now, you understand the invisible forces at work. You see why she hesitates, why she doesn't reach out, and why her silence is not rejection. You also understand that your own awareness of this pattern gives you control over the dynamic, not by forcing her hand, but by mastering your own presence and maintaining the magnetic tension that compels her mind to circle back to you again and again. The truth is, influence is invisible. You don't need to chase, plead, or explain yourself to embed yourself in her mind. Her obsession grows in silence, in tension, in moments where you exist fully in your own life and allow her to confront her own emotions. Every interaction you've had becomes more significant than it was in real time. Every laugh, every subtle glance, every demonstration of confidence and self-sufficiency now carries weight because she cannot ignore it. She's not reaching out, but she's replaying these moments endlessly, often without realizing the depth of her fixation. And here's the key: the more you resist the urge to fill the silence, the more her mind builds a narrative around you, one that she cannot stop returning to. Her psychology is shaped by contrast. Women notice what is missing more than what is present. Your absence highlights your value. When she cannot reach you, cannot hear from you, or cannot feel your immediate attention, her mind searches desperately for traces of your energy. She becomes hyper-aware of your qualities, your humor, your confidence, and even the calm strength that allowed you to step away without panic. Every day you maintain your autonomy, every day you live your life without bending to her unspoken pressures, the tension intensifies. She starts asking herself questions she cannot answer. Why does he feel so untouchable? Why do I care so much even when I'm not talking to him? What is it about him that keeps pulling me back? This is where the emotional gravity works in your favor. She begins projecting her desires onto you. She imagines your life, your interests, your daily routines. And without even realizing it, she places herself within those scenarios. She envisions moments with you, conversations she hasn't had, the intimacy she longs for but won't yet initiate. Her silence is the canvas upon which she paints her fantasies, her mind doing all the work of attraction while you remain calm, grounded, and unapologetically yourself. The invisible power here is profound. The more she resists outward expression, the stronger her internal fixation becomes. But let's be brutally honest. You cannot shortcut this process. You cannot over-communicate, over-text, or over-pursue without destroying the subtle psychological tension that fuels her thoughts. Your power lies in patience, presence, and emotional consistency. By demonstrating that your world does not revolve around her immediate validation, you allow her mind to confront the truth. She is obsessed with you, even if she pretends otherwise. She cannot force herself to think less about you. She cannot escape the gravitational pull of your absence, combined with your underlying value. And every small interaction, your smile, your voice, the way you carry yourself, now carries exponentially more weight than it did before. She will test boundaries, both consciously and unconsciously. She may flirt, withdraw, or send signals of confusion. These are not rejections. They are part of the mental dialogue she cannot stop having. Every hesitation, every mixed signal, is her mind circling around the same truth. You occupy a space in her psyche that no one else can. And while she may not reach out immediately, the internal tension will eventually compel her to break her silence. But only if you maintain the psychological framework correctly: calm, detached, confident, and unshakable. At this point, every choice you make matters. Your attention, your presence, your focus, these are now tools of subtle influence. You are no longer merely participating in her emotional world, you are shaping it without a word. Your silence, your independence, your unwavering confidence, all of it becomes a mirror reflecting her desires, her fears, and her unresolved emotions. And here's the unspoken truth. Women rarely forget a man who mastered this delicate balance. They may resist outwardly, they may play games with their own emotions, but internally, they cannot stop circling back to the one who didn't chase, the one who maintained presence without possession, the one who became an invisible anchor in their mind. Now here's the final brutal truth most men never hear. Her silence does not mean she isn't thinking about you. In fact, it often means the exact opposite. Every moment she resists reaching out, every day she chooses pride over impulse. She is consumed by your presence in ways you cannot see. She is imagining what you're doing, replaying every interaction, every laugh, every glance, and comparing it to every other man she encounters. And because she cannot reconcile her emotions with her ego, she stays silent, yet internally she is tethered to you. You see, women think emotionally first and act physically second. Her desire, her curiosity, her obsession all build invisibly before any outward signal appears. This is why men panic when they don't get a text, or when she doesn't answer immediately. They interpret silence as loss of interest, but the truth is that absence, when wielded correctly, is your greatest ally. Every day you remain calm, grounded, and focused on your own life. You are intensifying the magnetic pull she cannot resist. Her mind begins to circulate around your life, your habits, your energy, and that mental loop is where attraction solidifies. This is the hidden pattern men rarely understand. Her silence is testing your value, not your patience. She is evaluating your confidence, your self-sufficiency, and your unwillingness to bend to emotional pressure. Every time you maintain your calm and refuse to chase, you reinforce the very qualities that make her think about you endlessly. Your independence becomes a mirror for her desire, an invisible force that pulls her closer mentally, even if she resists outwardly. And that tension, that mental push and pull, is what drives obsession without need for overt communication. The power is in the invisible dance. She will fluctuate between imagining you, doubting herself, and holding her cards close. She will feel an internal tug that she cannot rationalize. And every day you continue living fully, with purpose, and without bending to her timeline, the more she will circle back to thoughts of you. She begins to create scenarios in her mind where you are central, your smile, your presence, your confidence, becoming the standard against which she compares all others. You are no longer just a man she likes, you are the man she cannot stop thinking about. And here's the final lesson. Attraction, desire, and obsession are fueled more by absence than presence, more by restraint than pursuit. The men who panic, who text excessively, who explain themselves, collapse this invisible gravity. The men who understand her psychology, who respect the tension, who live their life fully and quietly, become unforgettable. She may not reach out tonight, tomorrow, or even next week, but her mind will not stop circling back to you. Every thought she cannot express strengthens her emotional connection to you. Now, here's something I want you to do. Take a moment and ask yourself this question and answer it honestly in the comments. Imagine the last time she crossed your mind. Was it fueled by her curiosity, her desire, or the tension of not reaching out? What does that reveal about the way you handle silence and absence in relationships? Comment your answer below. Like this video if this opened your eyes to female psychology. Subscribe for more life-changing insights. Share this with a friend who needs to hear this tonight.